like, okay, you know, when these kids don't have clothes, they don't have shoes, they barely have stuff to eat, you know, they're gonna do whatever is necessary in their environment to survive. So, you know, we have to hit this thing from all different angles, social angles, educational angles, you know, what we can do to help provide them with, you know, necessary, just the basic stuff out here, because there's kids out here that don't have it. So, I spoke too much.
Good evening, everyone. I come from very similar perspective to this gentleman. I'm from DC. I spent 28 years as a DC police officer, and I just retired as a sergeant and moved down here. My last 3 years, I was with schools, with the school resource. And I have to say that we probably have one of the most progressive and most aggressive school resource programs in the country. And I'm gonna tell you something. I take my hat off to the Atlanta PD, I take my hat off to Gwinnett County and all the counties around here. Gangs are a symptom, okay, of a much deeper and more complex issue that he just illustrated. When I got into, and I'll just give you a quick example. My first day in schools as a sergeant, I go to a home where a young lady was trying to eat Beats, the earphone things. And we talked to her, we got the mental health contractor, they agreed to come to the house and meet us at the house. We took her across the city home in one of the most impoverished parts of the District of Columbia. And when I got into the house, it hit me like a ton of bricks. It was just one bedroom. It had little beads as a section off of the rest of the house. The eating area was like a bedroom. The living room was like 4 or 5 like beds in there, and there was barely any food in the house. And after those 3 years, I started to realize, I just did not realize how many kids are hungry. Yeah. They are hungry. Yeah. One of our former mayors said years ago, Sharon Pratt-Kelly, she said, you know, when they're not nourished, they're not in a position to learn. And then they get diagnosed with social issues and stuff like that. And before you know it, prostitution, gangs, you name it, all the vices out there. And it is such a complex situation. It's right there in front of us. And I just didn't realize it. Now, all those years I was a police officer, I didn't realize how much went into these kids' lives, not eating, having these broken homes. And some of the homes weren't necessarily broken, but there was so much that they were going through. And all that generates, and it just gets right past us, you know. So it's going to take the police, and we had, like I said, just like in Atlanta PD, we have a lot of interaction with kids. I sent my officers to the group homes where kids were just so encourageable about course they were put in the group homes. We do presentations there, we talk to them, we get intelligence. We work with our intelligence unit and our gang unit. It was like we were hand in hand. I mean, anything I found out, they knew, and vice versa. We had a situation that happened during the day that slipped past us. I would deal with it at night, and then by the morning, we may have 20 officers at a bus stop just waiting for something to happen. And they were like, well, what happened? Who snitched? No, nobody snitched. We just found out about it. We had people on social media, looking at social media 24/7, looking for the next event before it happens. With all of that, we still have murders. We have, you know, we started to have a little uptick up there now. But part of the issue is that it's going to take more than just the police. It's going to take a concerted effort from the entire community. We cannot just rest this at the feet of the police. The police departments are doing an excellent job trying to get into the community, get in the kids' head, trying to get into their homes and find out what's going on and trying to mitigate it. But this is much larger than that. It's going to take so many different elements. That's our feeding these kids. We got to make sure these kids are, you know, getting the right, you know, mental health. That's a big thing that's not out there.
Right, that's right.
And all that contributes to this big explosion of violence and stuff, and why kids are, you know, going to these gangs. There's something missing, and we have to find a way to fill that. And it's going to take more than just the police.
So I got a question. Anybody in here, if you have a child under the age of 20, put your hand up. You got a child under the age of 20. So I wanted to pose this based on what you said, and you said, and what you know. How important is it for a parent to monitor kids' social media to prevent crime?
Very
Huge.
Very.
Because what happens is, in some cases, both parents, if it's a single parent or both parents that's working, like this is a working class, most people are working class. You work most of the time. By the time you get home, you're tired. And in some instances, as the kids get older, they get peer pressure, they get friends at school, they start picking up on some of the things that they're seeing at school. So therefore, with the social media thing, they start posting different things, or when you taking them school shopping, they're like, nah, let me get the red chucks, ma, with the red shoestrings and different things like that. And for some parents, if that's foreign to you, you like, okay, Johnny, let's get the red chucks. And then you don't know, you just gave him his fit for the hood that everybody in the hood is wearing as gangbangers. So he's now fitting in with the other guys. So then when the other neighborhood come over there with the gang mess, guess what? They can't decide if Johnny's with them or not, because he's wearing the same uniform, and he might be wearing it out of a sense of trying to protect himself, to blend in and not stay under the radar. So it's one of those things as a parent, a lot of times when you talk to them, a lot of parents just don't know. A lot of parents want to be their kids' friends, and they want to not make them upset and different things like that. If you paying for the phone, you should be able to have access and do some type of monitoring of it at some point, because I have daughters and I see some of the stuff on Instagram, girls twerking and all this different stuff. That's unacceptable. And that leads to what? Other things. That's another symptom which leads to other stuff.
So how do we educate the parents? How do we educate the parents?
Be active. You have to continue to be active, and you can never be too comfortable in your life. You have to think back when you was a teenager. You didn't tell your parents everything. You didn't do. All of us will act now that we're older like we were all saints, and we never would have done anything.
Oh, no.
But everybody has a past.
You was twerking.
Just answer, just,
My bad. I want, and then you.
just to answer her question, the community has to get involved, parents have to get involved. We have a lot of different organizations out here, like the NAACP. We're part of the concerned constituents as well. Some people in this room here, but I'm a member of the NAACP as well. But parents has to get involved. That way, you have to know what organizations to tie into, because these organizations are trying to help the kids. But if you don't know, if you don't get involved, you're not going to know.
Yeah,
You're not going to get the help.
one word, Google.
So
Gotta
when
go
you started
back.
doing-
1 second.
Right.
I got you on that. I got to go.
My thing with that, I hope y'all can understand me, my voice is a little messed up right now, but my thing is, like you saying, get involved with organizations, but before that even starts, you have a responsibility as a parent, to be a parent. You know, you say you might not wanna monitor their social media or whatever, but what responsibility do you have? I mean, you have to look at it like, you know, I have to, you know, make these sacrifices to spend time to talk to my children, to make them, you know, comfortable talking to me about whatever they're going through. You know, make your child feel like it's okay to be a leader. You know, because people that are weak-minded and get sucked into following are the people that's susceptible to being, you know, easily influenced by these gangs. If you use, like me, I come from the project. I didn't have much growing up, but I used everything around me to teach me what not to do. Why can't somebody else do that and become a police officer? You know what I'm saying? Just because you are in an impoverished situation, all you need is one positive influence. All you need is that one person. That could just be your mother or your father or an uncle or a football coach or a basketball coach. All you need is that one person that can tell you, despite everything you got going on around you, if you focus on what you're trying to do, you don't have to fall victim to what everybody is going through, because it's a cycle. It's a cycle. When you're in the hood, you see people, you went to school with people that you played sports with, that you graduated with, that's now on the street asking you for 75 cents, or at least that's what it's like for me when I go home to Pittsburgh. And it breaks your heart, because they had the same opportunities, but they made different choices. See what I'm saying? They wanted the fast money. They didn't want to do their schoolwork. You know, so when they graduated from high school, they went straight to the streets. And how long before you realize, oh, smoking a cigarette wasn't getting me high enough. Now I want to put something in my cigarette. Or I'm gonna start smoking weed. Now that ain't getting me high enough. I'm gonna put something in my weed. Next thing you know, that ain't getting me high enough. Well, I'm gonna just smoke crack. That's the evolution of a crackhead. So it starts with personal decisions. You need one influence, and that should be everyone's parents.
Right.
To tell you, look outside.
Yeah.
If you grew up in the hood, look outside. And in any 2 minute span, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 crackheads with a story walking by. And if you don't want to be that, this is what we got to do.
Right. I agree with what you're saying, man. I agree with what you're saying. But all parents are not educated.
Right.
You have to have the education to be able to, and I understand what you're saying, to be a good parent. But even a good parent, kids can go to the wayside. Because all kids aren't alike. We have different behavioral issues and problems. But some parents, single parents, that work more, they're away from the house more than they at home.
Right.
So a lot of times, man, the parents has to be educated. We have to educate these parents. You have some young kids, parents out here that's having babies at a young age. They had no clue about life or raising a child.
How do we end that cycle?
I'm sorry?
How do we end that cycle? Because
You gotta
if,
educate.
say for example, with the programs that you guys have that are available, how do you reach somebody like that? Because usually a parent or a person like that have a child young or something, usually it's a cycle. How do you break that cycle, or how do you get the resources to them to try to get them to change?
We basically, when that county NAACP, we just